Israeli defense forces are on the ready, have been for some time, for the potential of a ground offensive into Gaza. It has not happened yet, but for an idea of what it could look like, we're joined now by Benjamin Anthony, who's a veteran of the IDF, fought against Hezbollah in Lebanon, and also co-founder and CEO of the Miriam Institute, which is a forum for dialogue and discussion about Israel. So thank you, sir, for coming on. There's been a lot of talk, and a lot of people looking in from the outside thought this ground offensive would have already started. So let's start there. Are you surprised that it has not?
I think that there was a general sense of surprise that it was not undertaken in a swifter fashion, but I'm comforted by the fact that we have taken the time before launching this incursion, if it does indeed take place. Nothing is certain in the military, certainly not a mass incursion into another territory until it actually begins. But the reality of the matter is that the Israel Defense Forces, the defense establishment, and indeed the government of the State of Israel, they are all working to find the way to bring about their stated objective. It's not a simple objective. That objective, as stated by the Prime Minister and the Minister of Defense, is to completely destroy the presence of Hamas, the terrorist organization that murdered 1,300 Israelis in the bloodiest rampage against Jews since the horrors of the Holocaust on the morning of October 7th, and which hold 200 hostages cynically being held for ransom inside the Gaza Strip, including men, women, children, and of course our soldiers.
Yes.
It takes time to prepare for something like that, and I think that it's appropriate that we take that time.
Now, you are someone who I believe has seen combat in your time in the IDF, the Israeli Defense Forces. I mentioned Lebanon as one of the theaters where you were in combat again, but this would be different, right? In terms of anything that we've seen, at least in recent memory, for the IDF. What are the challenges of the urban warfare on this scale in Gaza for this military?
So first of all, the dense presence of buildings would make it a real challenge from the perspective of urban warfare and urban combat. That's number one, but that's above the ground. Beneath the ground, there is a very elaborate set of tunnels that is referred to by the Israeli defense establishment as the Gaza Metro. Now, these tunnels range in size. They range from being large enough to drive trucks through to being just narrow enough for one individual or two to run through and operate. They became a strategic challenge for the Israel Defense Forces back in 2014. Subterranean warfare is not new. And you may well remember, and your viewers may remember, that prior to the Second Lebanon War, in which I served inside Lebanon, down on the enclave with the Gaza Strip, Gilad Shalit was kidnapped and taken into the Gaza Strip via a tunnel. But in 2014, the tunnels had been converted from a tactic, such as the one I just mentioned, into a strategic challenge. Right. That brought about Operation Protective Edge, and what it also saw was the complete overhaul and revision of how particularly our combat engineers prepare, along with special forces, for tunnel subterranean warfare. It's very complex.
Final point, and again, to go back to your experience in Lebanon, how concerned are you about another front, about Hezbollah in the north, about the West Bank as well? How concerned are you about this spreading from the Gaza Strip to other areas?
I'm very concerned. I believe that we're already in a low-level conflict with Hezbollah in the north, and I personally, as a citizen of the State of Israel, would actually like to see the IDF launch a first strike against Hezbollah's aerial capabilities. These 150,000 to 200,000 missiles that can be fired towards us at the rate of 2,200 per day. Those should be taken out, because whether we do it now or later, it is going to be required.
Thank you for watching. Go to newsnationnow.com to find News Nation on your television provider. And don't forget to click the red subscribe button below to get more of News Nation's fact-driven, unbiased coverage.